After a week of endless setbacks, this week is all about redemption. We finally got to pick up our sledgehammers and start smashing. Bye-bye walls. Hello, spaciousness. But first, we are Whitney, Jonathan, Clark, Annie, and Arlo. We're a family who believes in taking chances and living a life we love. Our hearts have been longing for change, for space, for learning, for adventure, right at home. So what did we do? We sold our home without a permanent place to land. We moved into our sister's basement. We found and purchased the property that we believe will house the hopes and growth of our family for years to come. Join us as we roll up our sleeves to get ready for renovating. Watch us turn a house into a home and acres of grass into a farm. Welcome to Follow the Whisper. I am back at the new house today after a week that kind of stank. We had a lot of setbacks, one after the other, and I'm not sure if you can tell from where I am sitting, but the walls came down.
She's laughing. All right, it's the start of demo day 1 on the wall. Kind of right here. Yep.
Oh man, it's like a pinata.
Oh, crazy, like it's...
I'm ready.
Now, hold on, Arlo.
Arlo's like, I'm not ready.
Like, I don't know.
Yep. Arlo, what did he do? Look at this, guys. No, this is a good thing. This is a good thing. He made it through on the first swing. I'm impressed. Where I am currently perched is where a wall used to exist. Here is the dining room over here. Here is the family room over here. If you remember a couple of weeks ago when I gave you an inside tour of our new home, there was a bulky and awkward wall right where I'm sitting right now. Hold on. Goggles. That way when everybody yells at me that I'm not being safe, he now has goggles. We are so happy and so excited that our dream for opening up this space was able to happen. When we walked in here for the first time, our vision was for it to be an open and inviting space, one that was bright, one that had tons of natural light, one that allowed us to not feel cramped even though we have 2 very active kids and a ginormous dog that used to take up half of our living space. All of that is happening and it feels really good. There's tons of natural light that pours in from the front and the back. We're just so excited to be able to walk in our front door and not be greeted by barriers, but to be greeted by brightness and space. When we were having the hard week with all of the disappointing news and all of the setbacks, we reached out to our contractor contact from our last home and our last renovation to verify that the beam that is up in the attic is supportive enough to carry the weight of the roof without needing any sort of extra support or any sort of extra structure. But when he did take a look at that, what he discovered was that because our home is modular and was made in pieces, there really wasn't enough reinforcement between those 2 pieces. So he gave Jonathan some very specific instructions that needed to be applied to support the overall integrity of the beams. And he said that truly it is something that should have been done when the home was built, when those pieces were put together for the first time. And unfortunately, it just wasn't.
There's basically 2 beams that were not glued together, and they're not LVLs. They're actually plywood load-bearing beams. So we're gonna spread them apart just a little bit and then add construction adhesive foam and then do through bolts. Here we go. All right, so Brian and I just finished up. Let's see if I can get you a good shot here. But we put 1/2-inch steel through bolts in about a foot apart and 3 layers, and then also put the adhesive in. So yeah, I think we should be good to go.
There are a lot of unfun parts of renovations and DIY projects, but I will say that smashing down walls is one of the fun parts. That was probably the most fun that we have had and the most satisfaction that we have had so far in our project. One of our nephews, Landon, who we are currently living with, he has been super sweet and super helpful. He gave up many days and evenings of his summer break before school started to be here with us, helping us predominantly remove staples. Sorry, bud, I know there were a lot of them, but we felt that we owed it to him after all of the hours that he put into helping us this summer. He should get the honorary first hit. After the wall came down, after the drywall was removed, of course, then we had to clean up all of that, and we were left with the studs and the electrical and the thermostat. Jonathan and I had to think a little bit and plan ahead as to where we wanted our light switches and outlets to be relocated.
All right, so before we actually take the studs down, we need to remove the electrical. It's hot, so we need to go find the breaker. So let's go find it. Here we go. You?
Nothing. So that means that we have no power.
We're gonna go up into the attic again and pull off and probably terminate these guys into a junction box, see where we need to relocate. There's a few outlets and light switches that we will need to relocate. All right, so one reason why we always test, no matter if we think we had a breaker turned off, we just plugged in the tester to the last outlet that we need to remove, and it's live, so we need to go flip that breaker. Which, Clark, you down there? There we go. It's off.
I love the way our home looks and feels now that the walls are down and things are more open and spacious. Right now, of course, it's echoey in here because we don't have floors and we don't have furniture, but I really do think that it is going to be comfortable and cozy, inviting, and just a place that we want to spend our time when we are able to finish the renovations and put our finishing touches in it as far as decorating and furnishing goes.
Last wall. Stay here, buddy.
Nervous dog.
Stay there. Stay.
As you know, last week was a bit of a rough patch for us. We ran into lots of issues with water tightness and leaking and mold. We're doing okay. We have our chins up. We're ready to just press on, and taking the walls down definitely helped to lighten the mood. So many good things are coming, even with the presence of hiccups that we weren't expecting. Taking the wall down was a huge step in the right direction as far as the renovation goes. No surprise, but there is lots for me to do here, so I am going to say goodbye today. As always, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your time with us. I know how precious time is, and we're so appreciative that you would choose to spend some of that time each week with us. We hope that your lives are a little less crazy and a little less messy than ours, and we will see you next week.
One lesson: when you're using the gun, wear gloves too, because my hands are completely stuck together. That's all right.